Hello, everyone. This is Meena, and I'm joined by Marina today. As a church, we've been having conversations focusing on children of determination and different journeys and experiences. And today, we're joined by two lovely people, Senhit and Rose. And Senhit, so could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Meena and Marina. Okay, to introduce myself, I'm Sanhit, and I'm a behavior analyst by profession. I provide behavior analytic services, therapies to people of determination.
Rose, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Rose, and I work as a high school counselor in one of the international schools here. And I deal with student behavior, their social and emotional aspect, as well as help students to build their life skills.
That's interesting, Rose. The fact that you work in the education sector and that you work with children to sort of develop their skills, that comes with a lot of work, I assume, and it's kids who are different in their abilities, different in their skills, kids with different talents. Today we are here to talk about, as Meena said, to continue that conversation about people of determination. And I believe a lot of the work that you do also involves children of determination. So could you tell us more about that experience?
Yeah, when we speak about people of determination, we normally speak about their physical challenges, their intellectual challenges, and also we forget that people do have social challenges also. So it encompasses all these challenges. At the same time, beyond the challenge, we look at what are their qualities, what are their talents that they have, and how do we capitalize on that. So in the school that I work, we have a program called as Best Buddies, where the students, the school that I work is a mainstream school, so the students work with students of determination from another school, and they work on, like for example, they have sports activities, they have painting, they have choreography, they do baking at times. So it's like looking at what's common and working on a friendship. So these kids extend a hand of friendship, they open their hearts, and they really enjoy this activity because they learn to love and accept one another despite the differences.
I love that. It's kind of similar to what we do in church out here with running partners, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Imagine having a buddy and having a buddy because of what's common, because of a shared passion that you have, and that's amazing. That's amazing because you're not excluding people. You're not saying that, hey, this is what makes you either look different or be different, but you are including them and saying, hey, these are the skills, the talents, the shared passions that are common between the two of us, and hence we shall just be buddies. That's beautiful. I like that you've touched on the fact that there are certain things that are visible that you can see. However, there are certain things that cannot be seen and need to be spelled out either through a counselor or either through a parent saying that this is what my child is dealing with. And of course, we've all grappled with we've grappled with awkwardness in a setting that we are unfamiliar with. But to a lot of kids, that social awkwardness is a different thing altogether, where they really feel challenged to interact with people of the same age group. They feel challenged to interact with people from different settings, and that can come across as, to a person on the outside, that can come across as rude. So oftentimes you look at such a kid and say, hey, that person didn't greet me. I don't think he likes me a lot. So tell us more about that.
The social awkwardness. Because what happens is when people are in a new setup, it's common for all of us. So we can easily understand what others would be going through.
Yeah.
So I think having that empathy and having a kind of understanding, we take it from there, and then able to, like, one-on-one friendship is much easier. And when you start with something that is common rather than looking at the differences, so in this program what we do is we look for common interest. So we don't highlight on the differences, but like some of the kids come on wheelchairs, some of the kids are on autism spectrum. So we see that the kids are able to connect because of the common factors. So we have a music teacher, we have somebody with PE experience, and we also have students who are willing to learn art from them, do artwork together. So they love this. There's fun, basically there's fun. In the past, we have also done what is called as prom. These kids don't know what is a prom. And their prom is slightly different because we have the families included. So I have run this for a couple of years, and the owner of the hotel has sponsored the entire program. We had somebody sponsor a limo. And all the families were invited, so we had sometimes around 200 to 250 people attending the prom party, and they would have dance, they would have singing, they would really enjoy, they would have a photo booth. So you see, like, God created everyone beautiful. So when we start looking and valuing people the way God created them, I think that makes a difference. And it has to be genuine. We are not doing it because we want to just make them happy for a day. So it's an ongoing process. It's something that we start and we continue. I had a student who is now in the university and is graduated, but he still is in touch with his buddy who is a Down syndrome kid. And they love each other's families and they love meeting. They go bowling together. They do kayaking at times. So these kids are able to enjoy their lives. And I feel not only the people of determination, but also the family members. They need some kind of, how do I put it, like a comfort or a kind of an acceptance, because most of these families go through a lot of tough times. So when you include the families, like when we used to have the prom, everyone used to enjoy. You know, they would really come dressed so formal, and they would go to the photo booth, they would take pictures, and it's a formal dinner, and they would really love it. And so I believe that by putting a smile on their face, your day is made, and it's unforgettable. So if you have to ask me about the unforgettable moments, that is my unforgettable moment, when I see them smile, enjoy. They would dance. We used to have students who are 18, 19, who are actually stone deaf, but they would do Bollywood dance. They could just get that frequency, and they were able to actually dance, and you could never make out a difference.
So they'd pick on the rhythm and then
Exactly,
sort of,
yes. And they would perform.
dance
They
and
would,
step, yeah.
Yes, they would actually, and one of the boys has even had a show with Salman Khan and I think one more movie star. And it's amazing how much these kids can do. So we used to also have fashion shows. So there were fashion shows. There was one of the students can sing in 5 languages.
Yeah.
In Spanish and English and Hindi and French. And when he sings, there's so much of, you know, the depth, the way he sings, you know, it brings tears to your eyes. So what I have seen from my experience is, like, no matter what, we know that by the grace of God, we are able to make a difference in the lives of these children, because these kids God created special. So I never consider them as, like, I say that God made them special. They have something beautiful in them. If you look at them, like, they have they don't have malice, they're not jealous, they're not envious, they're just themselves.
They're just kids.
They're just kids.
Yeah.
And they have no inhibitions. I feel that we have a lot of inhibitions as adults, but they're so down to earth, they're so real. We put on a mask, we try to pretend as somebody else, but these kids are so real. So I have learned a lot. In fact, they have made a difference in my life more than me making a difference in their life. That's what I would like to say.
I loved how you started off with diagnosing what a kid is going through and then finding a shared passion that the kid would have and can then buddy up with another kid. And I liked how you said that it's not like a momentary process. It's not like a day in a year earmarked for this, but it's like a lifelong journey of friendship, right, Meena? So it's so incredibly important to have friendships in our lives, and oftentimes at at as a child, as you're growing up, if you do not have someone who's sort of budding up with you, or you do not have someone to share, it can be a difficult process growing up.
Just again, I've heard of something called as a least restrictive environment, and I feel Senhit might know about that. So again, finding that common ground for students with determination so that they don't feel excluded. Senhit, could you touch upon this, the importance again of creating that common ground for, and as a therapist, I feel that you would sort of create the grounds for an educational organization to follow further and implement those into their curriculum. So any stories or memories that you have?
Yeah, that's true. It's all about like creating the right environment for people of determination, because the environment where they feel comfortable, where you give them comfort, that's the place where they can function better. And also, whatever you're looking for from them, whatever you expect to see, you will see it in the, when you create an environment for them. And so when you give them the comfort, then they give you their trust. So when you win their trust, then you can come along with them in a long way. So one of the examples I can give is like a building rapport. So when you're building rapport, like you'll get to know the person better, right? So, and to know the person better, you will come to listen to the person first. And then you go on moving from there, the friendship builds. And the same thing with people of determination. So we build rapport, which we call, in psychology, we call it rapport. And in behavior analysis, we call it pairing. So we get to know them better, so we get to see what they are doing first. So they come to an environment in your place, like in a school setting, or if you go to visit their homes, or it could be in a center. So you get to see like what do they like in the environment, where are they going, where are they heading towards, and you just follow their leads. And once you follow their leads where they're going to, so let's say they're children and they're going, you see them in playing or approaching certain toys. Then once you get to it and you start playing with them, use those toys that they're using in the environment, play with them, then they get to see that you both have some similar interests. From there, you can build up the comfort zone that you give them and also the trust that you're looking for from them to win. So that's how you create the environment. And then slowly you can make the learning environment also to occur. So like when the environment is very comfortable, then they can also be in a place where they trust that they can be there and they can learn. And learning also becomes fun.
Yeah, thank you. I feel in order for them to start trusting you, for them to build a rapport with you, again, I think it brings us back to the point that Rose mentioned about empathizing with them. And for us to empathize with, these children of determination, it's again really important for us to trace ourselves back to the grace of God. And so again, I feel as specialists in your field, you would have, again, being children of God, it would have been brought you to moments where you keep asking the grace of God so that you can navigate yourself with children like that we mentioned. So Marina, do you have something to add on just that?
I love the fact that as a behavior analyst and as a school counselor, I love the fact that both of you guys spoke about the shared passions that we have, the shared interests that we have, where you do not use differences to segregate or box people or drive people apart or have slots around them, but you celebrate those differences and find a shared ground where children can come together. I think what also matters is beyond the school setting, these children come back to a house with, let's say, other siblings who could look or be very different. They come back to a home environment with parents who can be going through their own sets of challenges in life, whether professionally, physically, mentally. And it's so important that this support system that these children have is not working in isolation. That this support system is working in tandem with these children. And again, this support system has like a support system of their own in terms of the wider community, sort of pushing them on, spurring them forward, encouraging them, which brings back which brings me back to that experience of prom. It's beautiful that families could sort of journey together with these children and enjoy the whole experience. You spoke about bringing a smile on kids, on the faces of kids, and bringing a smile on the faces of parents. But at the same time, you brought a smile on my face. Hey, I'd love to do that prom again, right, Meena?
Absolutely.
I mean, invite us the next time, Rose. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful that there's the shared experience that everyone can have together. Tell us about the isolation that kids can feel, especially in a setup like this. The times that we live in, and the pressures that kids face, that children face, look very different from the times that, let's say, I lived in as a child, long time back. I'm hoping no one guesses how old I am, but yeah, the pressures that exist, whether it's on social media, whether it's on popular media, about how a person is supposed to look, how a person is supposed to behave, how a person is supposed to speak, that pressure can increase multiple times for a child who comes with a different set of skills. Now that difference could be social awkwardness, that difference could be that child being on the spectrum, that difference could be a child who has physical abilities that set him or her apart. So how do you deal with children who sort of come to your desk and experience that isolation? What would you tell their friends, their buddies? What would you tell their families? What advice would you give them as a counselor?
We set up a support group. During the lunch break, we have kids who would like we link it to service and action. In the school, we have service and action. So we link it to that. So we have kids who are socially more active, being friends with kids who are socially awkward. So they share lunch together and they spend time, again, based on their interest. This is how it has worked for some. Still, there are a lot of challenges because there's a reluctance. Sometimes they say that, okay, I don't need help, I'm okay. I love to be alone, I love to be by myself. So there's a lot of defense mechanism if you see. But at the same time, some of them are comfortable being all alone. It's very odd. We find it odd. So you see, some people are different, but they have that comfort zone. They're okay by being alone by themselves. But yet they have, some of them have social media, and so they have friends on social media. So they do make friends through gaming. They do make friends through Insta and Snapchat and all these social medium platforms. But at the same time, when they are able to connect, it'll take a long time for them. So that's what I have noticed, that it takes a while. But once they're able, as Senhit just rightly said, build a rapport and then start having that trust and confidence, and eventually they're able to build that relationship. But it is, we ask them to take those baby steps, and then they're able to connect. So again, based on the commonalities rather than the differences, because we don't want to hurt the sentiments also, because sometimes they feel that, oh, so do you think I'm odd? Do you think I need a friend? Do you think something is wrong with me? So the moment, they hear the word counselor, they think that already there's a stigma attached, that there's something wrong with them.
Right.
So what I would do is I would sometimes have team building activities. So I mix the group. I have kids who are socially very, outgoing, and those who are not so outgoing and start. But even that sometimes becomes a challenge. So I try to work within the small groups, very small groups, and then slowly build on that. And sometimes I've asked students to help another student. If they're good in a particular subject, I say, why did you just help this particular student? And so build that social skill based on their strengths. So we look at their strengths and we work on those areas. So it takes a while. It is a challenge. It takes a while. And again, when the families are on board, it's much easier. So again, as you said about the siblings, getting help from the siblings at times, appreciating whatever the baby steps that they're taking, recognizing them without making a sensational thing. Sometimes when you give extra attention, they feel like socially withdrawn sometimes. But by just making it as matter of fact and not making it as a big deal, I think that's where being a bit subtle, but at the same time able to help them to navigate through these awkward moments has helped a great deal. But again, it has been a process even for me as a counselor.
Yeah. And as a counselor, do you feel that social media has been a bane or a boon, in the sense, has it helped them, or have you seen at times that they've become more socially isolated or awkward, where they've lived a bulk of their lives virtually and online rather than being present physically with their friends or with their buddies?
Yeah, I think it's how they have used it.
Right.
It connects people. At the same time, if it dominates a person or it takes the time away, it can impact other areas of life.
Yeah.
So it is a blessing in one way. At the same time, if it takes over the person, then it can be, it can have an impact in a different way. So it all depends on how a person is able to keep their time factor, and also who are the friends that they are inviting into their own social network. So in the same way, even for the students of determination, they have their own account and they have friends online, and so some of them are able to showcase their interest also.
I think it's true for literally everything in life, right? How do you navigate wisely through social media accounts? How do you navigate wisely through your relationships? And I think, Meena, when Seneth was talking about her experience and her journey, what was interesting to me was also the fact that oftentimes it's not just children who are dealing with issues. It's also oftentimes the support system that could be drowning. Right. So who do they approach? Who do they look at as someone that can help them and support them? Seneth, drawing from what Rose just spoke to us, what would you say have been, what would you say are the challenges that you see parents going through, especially when it comes along with kids of determination? Apart from the obvious ones, you are dealing with an intense amount of isolation at times because your family tends to look a little different. But apart from isolation, apart from depression, which is something that we've spoken about before, what are the other challenges you would think, and what would you recommend us as a wider community? What do we need to do to sort of help be a support system to this support system? How do we sort of journey with these families and with these parents?
So yeah, there are so many challenges that families face,
Yeah.
especially parents. So some of the challenge could be due to the lack of awareness, when they're not aware of how to help or how to bring them to the community. This is one of the challenges. For some, they do have the awareness, but then they haven't gone through the trainings that they need in order to help their children. So for those parents, I would recommend them like to go for training in order to apply whatever services the children receive, like in schools or in centers, like at home. If they apply it, it helps them better to improve the quality of their lives. And for the other people around, like for us in general, how to help or how to be supportive, I would encourage everyone like to get involved in an awareness program, get to know more about people of determination. What does it mean? And how do we help them? What are their needs? Get to know. And also if there are any like activities like what Rose was mentioning, any activities that is based like which is inclusive of people of determination, it's good to get involved and to volunteer, because the more you get involved, the more you get to know more about them. And also the more you get to see how the people in the field who are the specialists, how they're interacting with them. Then you get to know from this base, like you get to know, to have more knowledge, and also to how to help them. From the interaction, from the observations, from getting involved, you'll get to know more about them. So I would say this is how you support. Another way is also to get to understand like that everyone has a sense of belonging. Everyone has that need. In the same way, people of determination also, they do have the need to feel to belong to a community. Yeah, so that's what I would encourage everyone to understand, that they also need to be belonged, and also to putting yourself in someone else's shoes helps you to understand how people on the other side would understand. And we have good examples also, like as Christians, and the Bible, like in Hebrews, it mentions in chapter 4 that Jesus was also tempted in every way, yet without sin. And that's how we understand that, because the Lord himself was in our shoes, we understand that he understands through what we go through. In the same way, Apostle Paul also said in Corinthians that I have become all things to people so I can win them. So this, to win them, like you try to understand them better. So this is what I would encourage everyone.
Just to add to that, I feel few people could feel like what you both do, respective of your fields, could be easy because you're always surrounded by children of determination. But I'm pretty sure both of you would have faced your own struggles and challenges as you were growing in your field, in your expertise. And I would love to know from both of you, what were a few of the challenges that you faced, and how did you sort of connect that with, your Christian walk with God, and how did that sort of encourage you in your journey? Anyone could go.
So, okay, so like when I was going through the field, like right from the beginning, different people had different understanding. One would be like, it's very challenging, and how we would go across it, and where would you head? But for me, what I understood was like, since I started like studying psychology from my very beginning, I got to understand that like how to be compassionate. So in me, like the compassion grew more and more. And when I came in Dubai, because I've worked like with people of determination, I got to see like slowly I got to understand like how I had to, and I tried to navigate, like how I come across through this. And also, yes, like you said, like as a Christian, yeah, we are given the compassion and we are given also the call. So in this field, like, or being helpful and supportive in a community where you include people of determination, yeah, we have a lot to work in it. Yeah, we have a great call and we have to perform it.
That's so well said, actually. We need to educate ourselves about what's, if there's something that we do not understand about a person of determination, we need to sort of go that extra mile and educate ourselves, rather than just reduce that person or isolate that person to a person that we do not understand, and then just go beyond our apprehensions, and then just spend more time with that person to understand him or her better. And that in fact is literally what we've been doing as a church recently. There was this course that was done recently where we were being taught to sort of equip ourselves and do better and sort of understand the language that we oftentimes use that may not be the most grace-filled language. And I love the way that you put it there, Seneth, when you said that it comes down to us, where we play a part in what we are doing to sort of build awareness, in what we are doing to sort of educate ourselves, rather than slot, segment, or box someone and just look at another person who could just be easier to get along with or just could be easier to bond with. Let's end on that note. As a church, let's end on that encouragement where we need to go beyond the limits that we have set for ourselves in interacting with people, in showing grace to people, in imagining what our relationships with people can be, and just allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with others, in allowing ourselves to knowing more about what the other person is going through. And hey, we do not need to do it on our strength. You can depend on God at the end of the day. As we close, is there anything else that you would like to encourage or speak to the church about, any of y'all?
I would say faith, hope, and love. The greatest is love.
Amen.
So even as we reach out, each one love everyone, and also praying and interceding for these kids would be a great. I think in eternity it would be a great reward.
Beautiful. I love the way you said that. Faith, hope, and love.
Greatest among this is love.
We should get that on a tee.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. And I just loved every part with compassion and love. And, as a church, let's focus and thrive on that, that we get to love everyone as we are called to love. Thank you so much.
Thank you.